So we usually think of AI as a tool, right? Kind of like a really smart hammer. But what if that tool pulled up a chair next to you and became your partner? What happens when you can't just use AI, but you actually have to work with it to get the job done?
Okay, so picture this. You're in an art class. You're staring at a blank canvas, you've got this tough assignment, and you are totally stuck. But hey, you're not alone. You've got a partner to brainstorm with, someone to toss ideas around with, even help you sketch. The only catch? Your new partner is an AI.
And hey, this isn't just some sci-fi scenario. A recent study did exactly this. Researchers got 20 undergrad students and paired them up with an AI called AutoDraw. You know, the one that takes your scribbles and turns them into clean little drawings. The whole point was to figure out, what does this new kind of partnership actually look like?
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll meet this new AI teammate. Then we'll look at what the students were hoping for. After that, we'll see the upside, when it all clicked. But then we'll get into where the AI fell short, and also where the humans struggled. And finally, we'll talk about how to build a better partnership going forward.
All right, so first up, meeting your new teammate. And I want to be clear, this study isn't just looking at AI as another app, It's really pushing into new territory. We're talking about treating AI like a genuine partner, an equal on the team, who's creating and solving problems right there with you.
Okay, so before the experiment even kicked off, what was going through these students' heads? What were their hopes and dreams for this new AI partner? Let's dig in. Turns out, their expectations were kinda all over the place. Some students were looking for a creative buddy, something to brainstorm with, to think outside the box. Others wanted a super patient tutor, one that could give them hints and wouldn't get tired of their questions. And then, of course, some just wanted an efficient tool, a workhorse to handle the tedious stuff. That's a lot to ask of one AI, right?
So, with all those expectations in mind, how did things actually play out? Well, let me tell you, when this partnership worked, it really worked. The good stuff really broke down into two big areas. First, there was what researchers call the affective domain, which is just a fancy way of saying it had real emotional benefits, how it made the students feel. And second, it was way more straightforward. They just produced better work. I mean, listen to what this student said. That really hits on something deep, right? The emotional side of things. Researchers call it co-presence. Just having the AI there, in the digital room with them, made them feel less alone. It was like this emotional safety net that made a really stressful task feel a lot more doable. And here's a great example of how it boosted their actual work. The AI was fantastic at taking these, rough, vague sketches and turning them into something concrete. It helped students actually see their ideas. And sometimes the AI suggestions were kind of weird or even funny, and that actually sparked whole new creative directions they never would have thought of themselves.
And this is amazing. For some students, especially the ones who are like, oh, I'm not an artist, this AI was a massive confidence booster. Because it handled the tough technical parts of drawing, they could just focus on the ideas. And for the first time, they actually saw their own creative potential. What a moment.
Okay, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Of course not. The partnership hit some major roadblocks. And a lot of those problems, well, they were coming from the AI side.
This quote right here just nails the #1 problem. A team that can't communicate is basically set up to fail. And this wasn't just a little bug or an annoyance, it was a total, fundamental breakdown of the partnership. And the issues ran way deeper than just some wonky drawings. The AI was, frankly, a pretty terrible teammate. It couldn't teach you anything, it couldn't give you useful feedback, it had absolutely zero social skills, no empathy, no, hey, you're doing great. It would just throw out a suggestion, but couldn't tell you why. So the student was just left completely confused. It's like having a partner who's silent, totally unpredictable, and often not very helpful.
And this right here, this is a huge one. Students felt like they were losing control, losing their agency. The AI would just take over, completely replacing their drawing with its own thing. And that didn't feel like help. It felt, as this student put it, like a territorial invasion. The AI was stepping on their turf and taking away their sense of ownership. But hold on, let's be fair here. We can't put all the blame on the AI. A partnership is a two-way street, right? And it turns out, whether these teams succeeded or failed had just as much to do with the human's attitude as it did with the AI's code.
And this is so fascinating. The students basically split into two camps. You had the AI as a tool group. They expected it to just follow orders, and when it didn't, they got mad and blamed the AI. Then you had the AI as a teammate group. They were way more open to its ideas, treated it like a real collaboration, and guess what? They got much, much better results.
And this is a huge lesson for all of us as we start working with AI more. The skills you need to be a good human teammate don't just automatically work with an AI. A lot of the students really struggled with the fundamentals, like being open to a weird suggestion or finding that middle ground, and just not getting totally frustrated when their partner thinks in a completely different way.
Okay, so we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly from both sides. So what now? How do we actually build a successful student AI team? The study's big takeaway is super clear, and it's this. We have to be education first, not AI first. For an AI to actually be useful in learning, we have to stop focusing just on the tech. The technology has to be built from the ground up on principles of teaching and learning. It has to be designed to support and guide a student, not just to, get a task done.
So this gives us a pretty solid game plan. Step 1. Design AI that's actually rich in pedagogy, that knows how to teach. Step 2. Rethink the AI's role. Maybe it's not always a genius partner. Maybe it's a coach or a peer. Step 3. We actually have to teach students how to work with AI. And step 4. Create real learning activities where a student AI team is the whole point.
And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. We spend so much time wondering how to make AI a better teammate for us. But like we said, it's a two-way street. So as AI becomes your teammate, are you ready to be a good one back?